Hey everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 130. Wendy's double is in the talk, not in the burgers. Tonight's topics: marketing double talk, stop helping Isreal, and breaks for the wealthy. Stick around, folks, we got a good one tonight. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
I'm Ryan McAllister.
So, I'm not sure what kind of a show we're going to have tonight, but, who the hell knows? There's no point in saying it's going to be short or long, no matter what. It always ends up wrong, so... I guess I should go into forecasting the weather. Yeah, speaking of that, just a little dig in here on something. I don't remember what the hell it was, but some app your mother has. It's tied to the local forecast. It might be Channel 9's app. I don't know, but so we were sitting there the other night, and it had been raining all day, and she looks at me and says, "Rain's going to start in 53 minutes." I said,
"Yeah,
okay, it's been raining for like 5 hours." And then she got another notification like 20 minutes later. Rain's going to be starting in 23 minutes. I'm like, So in 20 minutes, we've changed by half an hour. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's utterly ridiculous if you ask me. I mean, if somebody needs to know that tightly when it's going to start raining, they got problems. Find something better to do, folks. But at any rate, so let's jump in. We'll see what ends up coming out of this. Maybe we'll have something that comes up and we'll ramble on. But So first off, last week's show.
Okay,
got an update on it.
Oh.
Yeah, so let me pull this up real quick. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but all right. So last week's show title was Wendy's charges more to save the planet. So after we aired that episode, after we did that, aired the episode and everything, somebody from the Wendy's PR department decided that they were going to clarify what the CEO's comments were about.
Ooh.
Because the news got it wrong.
Oh.
So the clarification is that Wendy's is not going to raise the prices during busy times.
Supposedly.
Hold on. Wendy's is going to change to digital menu boards. They're one of the last fast food franchises to do so. But they're going to change to digital menu boards so that in slower times they can reduce prices and save you money. Think about that. They're not going to raise prices during busy times. They're going to lower prices during slow times.
Okay, then.
It's the same freaking thing. There's no difference.
That's what confuses me. It's like, isn't that the same thing?
It's exactly the same thing. If you're lowering prices during slow periods, that means you're raising prices during busy periods. It's the same. But you know what's going to end up happening?
That's the confusing part.
There is going to be so many people that say, wow, they're saving me money. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're not saving you a dime, folks.
Not at all.
It's all the same. They're still making their profits. I don't get how these companies can get away with this doublespeak like that, and why so many people are actually going to believe this marketing person because, well, they're not the president or the CEO of the company, so they must know what they're talking about.
That's because people are stupid. That's how they believe marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really kind of a price gouging situation, to be honest with you. Because what they're saying is, well, when times are more demanding, we're going to charge you more for the product. That's the definition of price gouging.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you make it. The thing I don't get is whether you're really busy or not, your profits are based on your ability to forecast your need for employees. And, you know, most companies, they've got a pretty darn good system for doing that. And I speak from experience as somebody who not only worked at Burger King as a manager, but I also did the schedule for the store. You know, each of the restaurants where I was a manager, I was in charge of doing the schedule. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it wasn't my formula that was creating, you know, the needs. It was a formula that was developed over many, many years. All of these restaurants have these things. Yes, don't get me wrong. There are some real extreme situations. You know, like suddenly you have a bus come in. You get a bus of high schoolers that stop in after their sporting event. They're hungry. It's a huge hit. You can't plan for that. But, you know, the other thing you can't plan for is major weather events that make it so people just can't get to your location. You can't plan for that either. But there are contingency plans where you can send people home, or you can get some extra cleaning done. You know, some things that need to be done. But, you know, this idea that you need to raise and lower prices based on the business, that's just ridiculous.
It is.
It's just, they're just looking to make more money is all it is. You know, it's kind of like the stores with all of these sales. Well, if you can sell it for that price during this sale, it tells me that you can also sell it for that price and still make a profit the rest of the year. You just choose not to because you want the sale to seem special.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's ridiculous. The unfortunate thing is nothing's going to happen because the government's going to get their, you know, they're going to get their pockets lined with some cash.
Obviously.
You know, and it's also not a situation where you're kind of forced into it. I mean, the real definition of price gouging is it has to do with not an artificial demand, but a demand sparked by something like a storm. You know, if a major storm happens and, you know, the grocery store decides, well, people don't have water, they're going to be buying our water, we're going to jack the price up by 4 times the amount. That's price gouging. Yeah. That's illegal. What Wendy's is doing, I mean, they can set their own prices, but, you know, the only way that they're going to learn their lesson is with people not going.
Very true.
You know, and if they don't have defined times, then, you know, there's probably going to be at least a few attorneys general out there that say, yeah, no, you've got to have specific times in which your prices are going to lower. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just looking to make a profit when you're busy, a bigger profit when you're busy. So,
which is what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what they're. Oh well, no, they're making a lower profit during slow times.
Sure.
I don't know. You know, they get away with it in part because people, they don't pay attention, you know, and they don't think. I mean, before you spoke, you were thinking, oh, wait a minute, what the hell? You know, most people are just like, oh, lower prices, oh.
Lower prices, oh.
That's just the way that Americans are. You know, we just, lower prices, okay. All right.
A stupid bunch, aren't we?
Yes, very much so.
But hey, it's not like the rest of the world is much smarter.
Yeah, that's true. We just don't know about it because we're not in the rest of the world. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, so let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
So, Obviously, everybody knows about the war in the Gaza Strip.
That place is always at war, it seems.
Yeah, but, this is really about Israel and their war against the Palestinians and whatnot. But, so, of course, there's been trouble getting aid into people, into the Palestinians, the innocent civilians. I really want to stress that. The innocent Palestinians are stuck in the middle of this crap.
Yep.
They were told to go south. So what'd they do? They went south. Well, now Israel is saying, well, no, you got to go north. And what are they doing? Well, they're instead of actually allowing people to go north, they're actually bombing the whole area before people have an opportunity to evacuate.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's why so many civilians have been killed. Number one, instead of precision, using the precision of weapons, they're just blasting like crazy. They're taking out entire neighborhoods. I don't have an issue with the fact that, they have the right to defend themselves from the attack that happened, that started it. I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is the fact that they're just going in blatantly, completely wiping things out, and the United States is saying, oh, okay, here's some more money.
Even though Russia was literally doing the same to Ukraine.
Well, Russia's still doing the same to Ukraine, and we condemn Russia.
And probably still doing the same.
We condemn Russia for doing this, but we're not condemning Israel. But not only are we not condemning them, we're talking about sending them more aid. And I just think that's nuts. But at any rate, so some humanitarian aid got into the Palestinians, the actual civilians that need this because, all of their markets are wiped out. All of their farms are wiped out. So they've got nothing. So they have to rely on foreign aid to come in. Mm-hmm. So what happened? Well, the Israeli army escorted UN, the UN people to distribute this aid. And then because some people got too close to the tanks, they started shooting.
Seriously?
Yep. And here's the thing that really pisses me off with this. They said, only about 10 or 15 people were shot.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, well, UN officials have actually gone in and they found that hundreds and hundreds of people were shot.
Man.
And here we are. Oh, well, let's give Israel some more money. Morons.
Idiots.
So what's happened? Well, these people are starving to death. So obviously they're going to fight amongst each other. Jeez, that was loud.
Yeah.
They're going to fight amongst each other trying to get food for their families. Because Israel's not letting aid get through. Because they're just so worried that, what the hell? I can't even think of the name of the frickin' people that started the war.
Hamas.
Yeah. They're so worried that Hamas is going to go in with the UN, and they're gonna start something up. Well, you know what? Enough. These people are starving. They need this. And not only are they starving, but they also need the medical supplies that are included.
Mm-hmm.
And because the United States keeps giving money to Israel, the Palestinians keep saying, we don't want the United States around us at all. Go away.
Understandable.
Understandable to a point. We are trying to get aid into them. So they might want to think about that much of it. But
very true.
At the same time, come on. They have a point.
But with how much we're spending on Israel, It's insane.
Well, we're not sending as much to Israel nearly as much to Israel as we are to Ukraine. And a lot of what we're doing with Israel is we're selling them arms, because they can afford it. But at the same time, we're also giving them money, which, kind of, okay, so we'll sell you this, but then we're going to give you 50% of what you've paid back. It's just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is.
There's been hundreds of children that have starved to death because, number one, their parents have been killed, so there's nobody to actually get the food for them. And number two, there's just not enough food. You've got these huge refugee camps. You're talking refugee camps that are several 100,000 people. They're just living in tents because they have no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting ridiculous, and the United States truly needs to stop sending any kind of aid to Israel, because Israel is now a terrorist group, in my opinion.
And that's a fair opinion.
You can't.
The Israeli government is terrorist. It's full of terrorists.
Well, I'm not going to say the entire government is full of terrorists. The problem is the prime minister.
The prime minister is a terrorist, and he needs to be put on trial for his crimes.
Yeah, it's a situation of he's going with an eye for an eye. The problem is, there were what was it, like 1,200 people killed in the raid, and like 400 taken hostage, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if all of the hostages were killed, and we know that's not the case, tops like 2,000 people killed. Israel has already killed over 30,000 civilians.
Holy shit.
Yeah. At what point do we say enough is enough? My point is long ago. I'm not saying that, that Hamas had the right to do what they did.
No.
And as I said, Israel has the right to defend themselves. However,
of course,
they have gone way too far.
Way too far.
And, one place where Biden is he's showing he has no backbone is he keeps saying, we got to give them a chance. They've got the right to defend themselves. We got to give them a chance to work on this ceasefire. No, their chance has gone. Cut their aid now.
Right now.
Yeah. But, at any rate, so, what do you say we move on to something else?
Absolutely.
So the last thing that I have, it's actually a local thing to the Syracuse area. Syracuse is the it's a city in the county of Onondaga. Onondaga. For anybody
Onondaga.
When you live in the area, you just say Onondaga. You skip that second N, but it's actually Onondaga.
Yep.
But at any rate. So there, and we've talked about it before as far as Micron moving into the area, opening up a huge plant, or supposedly opening it up. I don't know. I haven't really seen anything happening other than a lot of talk by politicians. But, so there's supposedly a housing shortage in the area, even though you drive around and there's houses for sale all over the place. There's supposedly a housing shortage.
Supposedly.
Yeah. And there's an agency. It's the Onondaga County Industrial Development Agency. I don't know what the hell they do. I don't know who the hell pays them. It's not me, because I don't live in Onondaga County. But here's the problem that I have. They are pushing the Onondaga County Legislature to give tax incentives and tax breaks to developers so that they'll build houses. So that we're prepared for all the additional housing that we need for when this plant finally opens.
Yeah.
So here's my problem with it. You're going to give these developers all of these tax breaks and tax incentives and everything. And then they're going to build a house and they're going to sell it. And the person buying the house doesn't get any of those tax breaks or tax incentives. All that happens is these developers make more money because they don't have to pay taxes. It's utterly insane. Who the hell in their right mind thinks this is a good way to do business?
I don't know.
You know, and more than likely what these developers are going to do is they're going to put up all these cheap little, apartment complexes so that they can actually, maybe they're going to do that. I don't know that they will. It's probably going to end up being some of those, what I call house farms. Basically where every house looks exactly the same. Until 20 years down the road when they've fallen apart and they've got to be remodeled. But everything looks the same. And, they're selling these things now for literally $290,000 to start. And that was a couple of years ago that I saw one going in where they had that posted out there.
Wow.
In these houses, one of the things that I always said when we were looking at houses was I didn't want something so huge that by the time we paid it off, we needed to move out. This house is a little big for, once you guys move out, but
right.
It's not overly big.
Yeah.
In some of these houses, they're like 3,500 square feet. Our house is I think it's 2,100 square feet. It's like I said, it's on the border of being too big for just two people, but
yeah. But
it's not to the point where
you got to move out after we have.
Yeah. But, if you're talking 3,500 square foot house, what do you do with that with just two people?
That's a great question.
I don't understand it, and of course they're buying these houses for $300,000, and Onondaga County taxes are really, really high because, you don't live in the city. Guess what? 60% of the population lives outside the city. 60% of the taxes from the county go to the city. So you get screwed over if you don't live in the city. But
of course.
And the taxes are outrageously high anyhow. But I'm just like...
they are in this state.
Well, my uncle has lived in many areas, and he said what it really comes down to, bottom line, it's all about the same. If you're saving all kinds of money by not paying taxes, you're losing it by having higher costs elsewhere.
That's
so it's kind of a trade-off. So it goes back to what I've always said, where you've got to pick what compromises you want. Do you want to pay very little in taxes? Go someplace else. You want to be someplace where there's not many natural disasters? Live in New York or the Northeast in general.
Yeah. All you got to deal with is snow.
Yes. And as I've said many, many times in my life, snow is very predictable.
And this winter, it hasn't been all that bad.
Yeah, and of course, that's gonna get the, that'll get the environmentalists going. Oh, look, it's just warming up. Oh,
watch as this becomes the snowiest March we've ever had.
Yeah, we were on track to have the least amount of snowfall for a season.
I just jinxed it right there.
Well, we were on track for that until that storm last week, and that just blew it out of the water because, well, I mean, we ended up with somewhere around a foot of snow here, I think, something like that.
Ah.
Syracuse got quite a bit more, and in between us and Syracuse got even more. Yeah, there were some places that got 18 inches of snow.
Holy moly!
And considering, this is the kind of weather that we've had. We had a 60+ degree day, and then the next day the high temperature was in the mid 50s, but that was at midnight or right around sunrise, something like that. And then it stayed around 50 until like 3 o'clock. And then by 7 o'clock, it was down in the 30s.
Whoa.
And that was last Wednesday. And last Wednesday night is when the snowstorm came. So, we had the snowstorm that came, and luckily for us, it didn't, it wasn't like a pounding all at once. It was fairly steady. But then, so that was Thursday. But then Friday, high temperatures were up near 50. So it's been such a roller coaster.
And today they're in the 50s.
Yeah, today they're in the 50s. Yesterday we set a high temperature in Syracuse of like 73 or something like that, a record high.
Ooh.
So I mean, temperatures are all over the place.
That's what you get when you live in New York in the month of March.
Well, the unfortunate thing is it's like that all over the place. You look out in California, Northern California. Yeah, they normally get a lot of snow there, but not what they've gotten. You're talking they're measuring around 10 to 12 feet of snow in a 48-hour period.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah. It's at a point where ski resorts closed because their chairlifts couldn't move because the chairs were dragging in the snow. And normally those are like 30, they're like 20 feet off the ground.
Oh.
So, snow's been kind of nuts. Weather's been kind of nuts. But it's really...
That's what happens, I guess.
Yeah, and, there's some predictions that is a result of
climate change?
Climate change, yeah. We don't know. At least I say we don't know.
That's a fair way to put it.
Because, we don't have a world to compare it to.
Nope.
We don't have a control. And I've said before on the show, I believe, that's the problem with these people saying this is human-induced climate change. We don't know that. The Earth has been warming since the last ice age. Plain and simple. Nobody can argue with me on that. And before that last ice age, guess what? The Earth was cooling. I mean, it's just, these are the only thing. I mean, we can surmise that because, dinosaurs are reptiles. Reptiles, they don't produce heat. Reptiles need heat. And the fact that we've found dinosaur bones in places like Canada that are extremely cold kind of says, hey, you know what? It was warm.
It was warm there at one point.
Yeah, so.
I think another part that plays into that is continental drift.
Yeah,
Perhaps
we don't really know. I mean, again, we humans have such a short period of time on the planet, and even
extremely short.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't recall how long it is. Even if it's 1 million years, we know that the Earth is well over 30 million years old. How do we know that? Well, because we've got dinosaur bones that are 25 million years old. Mm-hmm. So we know that human existence is just a blip. And it's an even smaller blip when you start talking about recorded history. Especially,
if the Earth's existence was summarized in a whole year, human existence would only take up December 31st.
It wouldn't even take up all of December 31st.
Exactly. It wouldn't. I think the video I watched on that said that humans wouldn't arrive until like 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah. And then if you're going with that analogy based on that, recorded history for humans probably would not have started until about 11:30 that night.
11:30, if not later.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm trying to say. We have so little recorded history. We can guess based on core samples and such, but that's all we can do. We can only guess. And these people that talk about it like it's fact, they really need to learn how the scientific method works. But at any rate, I'm sure you heard that music starting up in the background.
And that means good night.
We'll see ya.